Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Case by Case. My name's Amy, and I've got just Rhonda and Cherie, who goes by I Don't Recall. Happy Monday, everybody, and thanks for joining us for part two of the timeline of the Ashley Garth case. We are continuing tonight with the interrogation video of Garrett Kurtz, picking up where we left off last week and going through the rest of that week's timeline leading up to Thursday, March 28th of 2019. And we're going to be sharing some videos and another interview tonight, plus finishing up with his interview. So if you haven't watched that video from it's actually 12 days ago. If you haven't watched that, I recommend going back and watching that and familiarizing yourself with Garrett's interview and what all he says. But in the meantime, good evening, guys. Good evening, ladies.
Hello.
Hello.
Good. How are you?
I'm doing okay.
Let me see.
Ready to rock and roll.
Yeah. Do you guys want to give a little introduction to yourselves and who you guys are? I know you did that last week, but it never hurts to do it again.
Yeah. No, I'm just Rhonda. I have a YouTube channel called Just Rhonda, and I cover the wrongful conviction of Daniel Holtzclaw from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. And I've recently become interested in this case that Amy's working on. And so, I'm just tagging along and learning everything I can and finding corruption wherever corruption exists. It's what I do. That's it.
Go ahead, Cherie.
I work with Rhonda and others on Daniel Holtzclaw's case, and we do videos on her channel about the case. And we're also both on Foul Play, the Foul Play team, where we mainly do cover the Stephen Avery case, but others as well. And I recently learned about this case, and I'm excited to learn more.
I just went, hi, Amber. Thanks for joining us tonight. Thank you, Jack, for stopping in and helping us out tonight. I've linked Jack and Rhonda and Cherie are all a part of Foul Play, and I have linked in the show notes Foul Play's website or their actual Facebook link, and there's a lot of information over there regarding Stephen Avery and Brendan Dassey's case, which is, hi, Dawn, how are you? The Stephen Avery case is definitely, I think, dear to all of us because it's such a horrible situation that they are in, and you guys do a fantastic job covering that case. And I just hope that I can even match that a quarter over here with Ashley's case. Let me see who else is in here. Hi, Impeccable Susan. So let's go ahead and get started. I have quite a bit to go over tonight, and hopefully it'll kind of flow through with what we did the last time that we were all live together as far as the timeline goes. And the presentation, I'm going to go ahead and do the full screen so it looks better. And I got to back up here a little bit because it's preloaded here. Okay, so we ended up, this was the timeline that we went over 12 days ago in Ashley's case where we finished up. This is the third, it's actually the fourth week of March where we discussed what was transpiring. Thanks, Jack. What was transpiring leading up to March 28th, which is where the incident happened. Well, it was actually late night, March 28th into the morning hours of March 29th. But I'm going to go ahead and kind of recap a little bit. On March 25th, Nicole posted on her Facebook that anyone that really gets to know me either falls in love with me or wants to murder me, sometimes both. This is on Monday, March 25th. And Garrett Kurtz actually responded on this Facebook post and he says, concrete shoes, B, F around and find out. And Nicole responds, point proven, LMAO. And on this same day, on March 25th, that is the same day that Garrett had showed up at Ashley's. The Indiana State Police had shown up at her father's house looking for Garrett. And we believe that it was in regards to Ray Hainish because Garrett had been arrested driving Ray's car back on March 14th. Ray's body hadn't been found at that time. His body was found on the 17th. So on that same day, on the 25th, while he's commenting on Nicole's Facebook post, I'm not sure what time of day that was. Hi, Travis. How are you? They all he ends up putting her in the hospital. And I think we went over all of that. Do you guys have any comments about any of that, Cherie or Rhonda?
No, I'm feeling pretty confident about that part.
Okay. So also to recap, late on Monday, it was I don't know when the first text was sent, but in the evening at 8:04, we do have a timestamp there. But on Monday, March 25th, Nicole sends a text to her sister. And that text reads, I'm in trouble. Do you care if I'm alive or dead? Real talk. Her sister responds and says, I care, but I'm in no position to help you. Change your life. That is up to you. Hi, ma'am. Peggy Garth is with us. That is Ashley's grandmother. She's one of my favorites. At 8:04 p.m., Nicole's sister responds and says, what kind of trouble are you in? And at 9:01, an hour later, Nicole responds, I need a place to stay. Now, if you remember from our last live, somewhere between March 18th and March 24th, if you look at the calendar up here in the corner on this presentation, we know that Garrett had taken Nicole out to Jeff's house. That was out there by Crawfordsville Park. I think it was Park County. It's a good distance away out there to ride horses. And so they had to be on good terms on the 18th. But based on the interviews that I know that we've only gotten into Garrett's at this point, but based on other interviews, you're going to hear conversation about something transpiring with Nicole's car keys. And that incident seems to be pretty significant because multiple people talk about it. And it was also talked about inside the Newton County Jail that Ashley had overheard. And what had transpired was something to the effect that Jason had taken Nicole's car keys and given them to Garrett. And Nicole began to look for the car keys. And she spent like 3 or 4 hours looking for the car keys. And Garrett pretended to be helping her while all along he had the car keys in his pocket. I have not been able to find out yet. I'm still waiting on some people to get back with me who were close to Nicole around that time. But I don't know what the reason was that they took her keys and why they wanted access to her vehicle. And this is her new car, her Scion, that she had bought. So eventually she starts to get pretty upset, threatens to call the police. Jason then threatens her, tells her to get off the property. And they throw the car keys at her and they land by her tire. I think it's her front tire of her car. So something between the 18th and the 24th that happened went terribly wrong between Garrett and Nicole. So by the 25th, these conversations between her and her family are going back and forth. He shows up at Ashley's. She doesn't want him there. She actually leaves the property and goes to a friend's house to get away from him. He follows her over there and ends up physically putting his hands on her that results in her going to the ER that night. We went over that. So if you're not familiar, you can go back and watch that video. But that kind of brings us back up to speed from our last live and what's transpiring between them on March. And that brings us into Tuesday, where, let me see here. Hold on a second here. That brings us to the interview that we have with Josh. Josh was a friend of Ashley's that when she got out of the hospital, she called him because she didn't know who else to call. And just through conversations with Ashley, she's explained that the whole ordeal with Garrett was like a really touchy subject with her family. They didn't want him around. She didn't want him around, but at the same time, I feel she was afraid of him. So sometimes I think in situations like that, women who are abused tend to kind of go along versus fight and argue. And so instead of reaching out to her family to call her, and I'm pretty sure that Garrett wasn't going to allow her to do that, she called her friend Josh to pick her up at the hospital. And from what I can gather, Josh thought he was just picking Ashley up by herself. And when he arrived, she had Garrett with her. But you'll see through the interview that it took him a minute to figure out who Garrett was. So hopefully my video plays and it's clear. It's not mumble jumbled because I'm still new to this. So hang on a second here. Called the day that he put her in the hospital.
The day she went to the hospital. Once again, I can't 100% say for sure. It looked like she had been in a car wreck. And she never admitted to me that he touched her.
Right.
But that was just the assumption. The fact that he wouldn't leave her side, the fact that he was being overly aggressive and protective, and yet didn't say a damn word to me other than showing me his knife for probably an hour, just standing there huddling right behind me right between us, like leaning forward in between the seats.
In the car.
Right. Which, of course, yeah, I ignored. I figured he was just trying to be part of the conversation until he didn't be part of the conversation. You know what I mean?
Right. And so when you picked her up when she called you,
Yeah.
she didn't really even tell you why she'd been in the hospital, or did she tell you, or did he tell you?
She told me that she'd been in an one of the off-road vehicle accidents. She had gotten into an accident on one of those.
And did you, when she got in the car, did you ask her to elaborate? Like, what the heck happened?
No, I remember there was a joke about how she really did get into a bad accident because she was all bruised in the neck and face. But I didn't ask her to elaborate. I trusted her to tell me when she felt comfortable telling me, because she was talking about how she was a little doozy on some drugs that they give her, and she hadn't slept for like 24 hours, and she wasn't feeling great, and that was what the conversation was how she was feeling and how she was handling it, not really what the accident was. And I didn't lean into it. I had no reason to suspect her of lying.
Right. Well, she was. I mean, she was lying. Well, I think that's because he was right there. And
right. I totally agree with that. When I abandoned him and took her to get out to eat, I did try to push on the whole, hey, are we sure that this was a car accident or an ATV accident? Because she's like, oh, yeah. She genuinely went from happy and fun till once he was gone and us talking about him to becoming sheepish and standoffish. Even without him there, she didn't even want to discuss him. And I know it's because she knows that I would have pushed and been angry and possibly got into a fight. I know that that's why. It
Mhm.
just was very sad
Yeah.
the way she was acting, like she was just scared, like a scared child.
Uh-huh. So you took her to eat, and
Yeah,
I remember. I think when I talked to you before, you said that she literally was acting like an 8-year-old.
yeah, like a little kid. Um, Specifically, um, when the second he was gone, like me and her talked like we normally would talk on the phone or talk probably 1,000 times before that.
Mhm.
And short of the joke I made about her abusive ex, which I made a joke about it because I thought he was long gone. Didn't realize he was the guy in the back seat.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Yeah, that was before he showed me the knives. So I was feeling that I might have like antagonized him a bit without realizing it. Once again, I had no clue that. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
She had texted me his name I think twice, and it was a text. And when she introduced me, the names didn't click. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Uh-huh.
I figured because he was in jail from what last I had heard for
Yeah.
breaking into her house and abusing her.
Yeah, and he got out. And then
Right.
he
That it never even occurred to me that she'd be still hanging out with him. And so when she said his name, I think it starts with G, Garrett, right?
Yes.
I was thinking it was a hard G instead of a light G, and I just never, never even clicked until he showed me the knife. I started to get the overwhelming aggressive, just how you can get a vibe off someone.
Uh-huh.
I just felt that he was pissed off that I was the one giving her a ride. And I didn't understand it until I started to put two and two together. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like she kept leaning away from conversating about her personal life. And we were driving the car for like an hour and 20 minutes because they wanted to go from north of Lafayette area to Kokomo, which is about an hour's drive away.
Mhm. So yeah, there's the interview with Josh. It's much longer, but I know that we have a lot to get through tonight, but I felt like that was the significant part of it. Him picking her up and Garrett being in the back seat and him not knowing who Garrett was and Ashley's behavior and then him pulling out the knife.
Well, it certainly seems to me like, I've listened to several other interviews from different characters in this case, and I find him believable. Excuse me. Oh, pardon me. I find him believable and sincere. Um, just the way that other people who disbelieve in Ashley's innocence find the people that they're talking to sincere and truthful. But
Right.
I just feel more sincerity and more realistic, easy. What he's saying just comes very easily. It's not something that I feel like he's having to come up on the fly with responses to your questions and comments. My observation.
Right. Well, Amber said she was never allowed to talk to her friends when she was with him. He controlled her and who she could talk to. Yeah, that's kind of what, a lot of the, people that I've encountered have said. And they really, most of them that I've encountered that I've reached out to are kind of shocked, like, "Oh my gosh, why weren't we reached out to before? We expected to be, and it never happened." And I've gone over and over with this stuff with Ashley before, and I'll be honest, she really put a lot of faith in her attorney. She really felt that, all the bases were gonna be covered and everything that she had provided to Lori was going to be, um, brought out in the trial. And, we're still getting into all of that, and, so we're not gonna discuss most of that, but still believe that Ashley really felt that going into her trial, she was going to be just fine. And I think that's kind of the sentiment with most people who are innocent. They really feel like they can put trust in the justice system and they're going to be done right. And from everything that I've been able to, unravel in this case, that's not been the case. And it's unfortunate because it's almost like the victims get victimized all over again, having to go through this. But at the same time, the scales of justice have to be weighed. And Ashley is literally sitting in prison with what I would consider a life sentence for something that I don't believe that she did. She's adamant that she didn't do it. And from everything that she has pointed, every direction that she has pointed me in since I have started working on her case, I've been able to prove. And every single story, every single chain of event has lined up. And it's taken me time to track down people and get people to be willing to talk because, this is a horrific case and people don't like to get involved. So I like I've said, I want everybody to hear the evidence. I want everyone to decide for themselves. I'm not here to persuade anybody to come over on my side and see the things the way that I do. But at the end of the day, the facts are the facts and you can't deny them. And I think going forward, a lot of people are going to see that what they thought transpired is not what really happened in this case.
I remember the West Memphis Three. What's his name? Damien said that he was innocent, so he was not worried at all. He was going to be found innocent. So it's Ashley wasn't the only one that thought it would be okay because she was innocent,
Right.
and it's sad.
Hold on, what did Amber
Well,
say?
and I mean, I don't know how much. What I don't know about Ashley is how much interaction she had had with law enforcement. Um, so she was clearly very naive to the problems um, and issues and corruption that could occur in the criminal justice system. And if you're completely immune to that and you don't hear about it or know about it or you're not exposed to it, then you kind of do put your faith in your attorney, and because you believe that that person has your best interest at heart. And for those who aren't familiar with the Avery case, Brendan Dassey's attorney literally threw him under the bus. He was Brendan's um, public defender, and he literally threw his own client under the bus publicly. And in Brendan's case, when he asked for a new attorney, the judge denied him. The judge asked him, "Why do you want a different attorney?" And Brendan said to the judge, "Because my attorney thinks I'm guilty." And he was denied a new attorney. But I mean, that's another whole long story. But the point is, uh, if Ashley had never had any kind of, um, her own personal contact with law, with the justice system in that respect, she wouldn't know. And she just seems to be, everything I've read and heard and seen, she seems to be very trusting of the system and of her attorney, who, as far as I can tell at this point, was not very effective, in my opinion, of really defending Ashley. Um, but if you don't know that something's wrong, you don't know to ask the questions. If you don't know what the problem, if you don't know there's a problem, you don't know that you should be trying to seek redress with your government to get it fixed.
Right. Now, Ashley she had a couple of misdemeanors. She, driving without a license, and then obviously some run ins with, being on probation because of drugs and some drug paraphernalia, but nothing to the extent like this. And, it just seems based on her life going back. things really went downhill when Garrett came in the picture. And that's not an excuse, but that does seem to be the trend in the last couple of years of her life. And then in the midst of all of that, she took it upon herself to go to Florida to get away, to get things back on track, which she did. But she came back, small town, um, and she fell back into the rut of things. And, she admits all of that. Ashley, that's one thing I will say about her is even if, she thinks that it doesn't sound the greatest, she will tell the truth and say, I can't, I'm not going to lie about it. Um, so, she's admitted her faults, but at the end of the day, she's not a murderer. I don't believe that she had anything to do with the planning of this. I think that this incident was as shocking when it transpired as it was to Nicole. We're going to we're going to continue to go into all of that, but um, she's adamant. And I think that with the social media coverage and the small towns that were so closely connected between Carroll County, Newton County, and then you have White County, and everybody thinking that she had something to do with Ray's case. It was surmountable pressure of, literally her wanting to just crawl under a rock because she had no means to defend herself. And there was one allegation after another. And, when you read these headlines of what was supposed to have been said by Ashley in her interrogation interviews, prime example is it was stated that Ashley said Nicole was a rival, but that was stated in Ashley's interrogation interview. Ashley's not the one who said that. Detective Rowe said that to Ashley, using that as an analogy when she was trying to get out what had transpired. And he said, so she was like a rival. And Ashley said, yes. But it wasn't Ashley who came out and said that. So I just feel like it was really a disservice to the whole justice system at that point when you've got a detective going out there and trying to feed the media verbatim what's being said in an interrogation video or interview before that person has even been in front of a judge. That's just wrong.
Well, again, I don't want to keep referring back to it, but um, the same thing happened to Brendan. Uh, Not to minimize what happened with Ashley's publicity in her case, but Brendan was crucified in the media by Ken Kratz before he even knew what happened. So, it's the media. I have a firm belief that the mainstream media, or MSM as I like to just refer to it, they're not, they don't do what they were used to do way, 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 way back in the day. They don't perform the job of a journalist anymore. They form opinions and they share their opinions and their feelings as news, and that is absolutely not what a journalist should be doing. And when they do
Right.
that, when they share in their stories their feelings and their opinions, even though they're not saying that's my opinion or that's my feeling, you can tell by the way they're writing or by the way they're reporting. They're more transparent than they like to believe they are. They just they are the ones who lead the public opinion, and it's a shame, but it's never going to go away at this point, especially with the strong additions of all the social media platforms. It's just not going to go away. It's just going to be the way it is. But mainstream media is not at all what they used to be. They're not journalists anymore. They're feelings and opinion providers, in my opinion.
Yeah. And it was very, after after getting all of these interrogation videos and going through them over and over and over, like I have, it's, right, Jennifer. Yeah. They're not journalists anymore. They're reporters. They're just reporting the news. They're not actually digging into the actual facts anymore. It seems that way. But after going through these interrogation videos, you know, Ashley's second one where I mean, I would borderline call it hysterical. Um, how Detective Rowe walked away from that feeling confident that whatever he was going to walk out and publicly, recite after sitting in an interrogation video or an interrogation with Garrett twice with nothing but, uh, I mean, you're talking hundreds of lies. So, yeah, it's frustrating to watch it all and sitting where I'm sitting. And as you know, I feel it's really important. That's why I'm doing this because I feel it's really important to share this story from beginning to end in chronological order. That way, everybody understands how it transpired, how it got where it got, and how we are where we are now. And unfortunately, no one really stepped in the midst of all of this. It was almost like she was guilty before she ever got to trial. And it's just sad. Travis says, news is a business. They promote what sells soda, beer, grocery stores. If it bleeds, it's true crime. Since Capone wrote In Cold Blood. Yeah. I mean, but it really can ruin someone's life. At the end of the day, it does. It ruins people's lives that, that one headline, whether it's true or not, people don't really stop to smell the flowers anymore. They all read the headline and they believe, oh, they refer the name to the story and that's all they know and that's the truth. And that's usually not the case. The facts are really left out of all of it. And it's just a headline. Okay, let's move on here. And let me pull this back up. So we are now, I think the one thing that I didn't get, Jennifer says, I was in a professional writing program at the height of the switch from papers to all online news. Colleagues told us that those jobs were going away. It's very covert, but I think they were taught that. Short blurbs and sound bites. Yeah, that's anymore. That's all people really have time for anymore is the short blurbs. No one really, I think, you know, Mike, my husband, he's I think one of the rare few who still every Sunday morning goes to the grocery store and literally buys the Sunday paper and brings it home and reads it from front to back. So
Yeah,
after, go ahead.
I was just going to say, yeah, that's a something I wish that more of us were able to make ourselves do, because there's just something about holding that newspaper in your hand and the smell of it, and I know this is going to sound really corny, but the feel of a newspaper and the different type of paper that it is, and how it feels and it smells and it looks and it rubs off on your, the ink rubs off onto your skin, and there's just something about that you can't get. But some people, that's not, some people aren't interested in that, and they don't have time to mess with a newspaper like they do, especially when all they're really wanting to do is get a story or a stock market or some ads or whatever it is. They're just going to go to online, and it's really sad.
Yeah, not Mike. It's a ritual. Every Sunday morning he goes and gets that newspaper. And it's about a 2-hour process. He sits down and smokes a cigar and reads the newspaper. Okay, so what I believe I did cut out in the interview, just because it was such a long interview, and we'll probably get back to it later on. But Garrett wanted him. Garrett wanted Josh to drop him and Ashley off at his family's house, and the family would not allow Garrett to stay there. So he then directed Josh to take them and drop them off somewhere in a neighborhood. He was going to, I guess, look up one of his friends and see if him and Ashley could stay there. And I think at this point, Ashley was just, being tugged along, and she was more than willing to go because that was easier than, putting up a fight. And she was literally quite a ways away from home at this point. So Josh made the decision. He said, no, I'm not going to let her do that, and I'm not going to have her out here with nowhere to stay. So he took them and he got them a hotel room. And he stated that he went into the office at the hotel or the motel, hotel, whatever it was, and told the clerk, "Hey, I'm getting this room. If there's any kind of an issue or problem tonight, you are to call the police and you are to contact me." And it wasn't until way after all of that happened that he ever heard anything from Ashley again. So that's where we are. And so that would put us at Wednesday morning. And from there, Garrett had someone pick them up and take them out to Kentland. He told Ashley that he was going to go by his buddy house, his buddy's Chris Mathis's house, and stop by and say hi, and then he would take her home. So they get to this trailer in Kentland, and it actually is a trailer that's belonged by Jasmine Parker. And you guys are going to hear in these interrogation interviews that Chris and Jasmine were actually an on again, off again couple. Jasmine claims that they had an open relationship. Well, Chris wanted an open relationship. She did not. And she finally had put her foot down and kicked him out of the trailer. However, it seemed that they had still been friends. They had been friends for, I think, years, the way that she describes it, but they had been a couple. And when they arrive at the trailer, Chris is there. But once they get there, Garrett, I guess, decides that he's going to have Chris give him a tattoo. So the whole ordeal with the tattoo stuff happens, which we heard in Garrett's interview, where I guess they're looking for a piece or a part of this tattoo gun, a screwdriver or something, and they can't find it, and they end up staying the night there. Now, Garrett, in his interrogation video, claims that, well, throughout the interviews, you're going to hear him say that they slept in this other bedroom. Ashley said that is absolutely not the truth. They did not sleep in another bedroom. The only room in the trailer that had an actual bed on the floor was the master bedroom, which was Jasmine's. One of the other small bedrooms had a mattress in it, but the mattress was leaned up against the wall and not on the floor, and there was other stuff in the room. So Ashley slept on the couch that night, on Wednesday night. And when she woke up in the morning, I guess Chris had already hightailed it out of there. Chris was gone by the time Ashley woke up. And Garrett was there. Mikey Hiddle he's a new name, but Mikey Hiddle was there, and Jasmine was there. Mikey Hiddle was a friend of Jasmine's that Jasmine had called to come over. And Ashley said when she woke up, the three of them were already there and they were back in Jasmine's bedroom talking. And from there, she found out that Mikey was going to give Garrett a ride out to Delphi, to the Paladino property to purchase, or I don't know if he was purchasing or getting it, but he was going there to get drugs. And an argument ensued because Ashley wanted to go home. And if he was going to Delphi, that's right near her home. Well, actually, the address where Paladino lives is actually technically, I believe, considered Monticello, but it's right outside of Delphi. However, it was close to home. Ashley wanted to go. I have spoken to Mikey. Mikey did do an interview on another channel, which I will link in the show notes here if anyone wants to go and listen to that interview. But Mikey claimed, and he's explained to me that yes, when him and Garrett got ready to leave, Ashley was not happy about the situation. He wasn't trying to get involved. He did not know either one of them. He had never met Garrett before. He had never met Ashley before. It was the first time he'd ever seen them at Jasmine's trailer. And that they were arguing. He said it appeared she was not happy and she wanted to go with them. So Ashley said that they had left the bedroom and went out in the living room and argued on and off. And Garrett said, "Fine, I'm going to have him run me to the gas station. We'll come back by and pick you up. then we'll go, I'll take you home. Well, Garrett and Mikey left and they never came back. So I wanted to show it. I know that a lot of people, we've heard about this trailer, and I wanted to. I did go to Indiana last weekend. Got to meet Ashley's entire family. Uh, Great people. I got to meet her grandmother. We had dinner. We talked about her case, and I also visited some of the areas that were affiliated with this case. Yeah, the last person you want a tattoo from. Exactly. Um, but I did get some video footage and some photos of the area. So I wanted to play for everyone. So you guys, because as we go further into this case, the layout of this trailer is going to be very important, and how the movements in the trailer that night took place, where everybody says they were, where everyone claimed they were. And it's actually a lot. I mean, the trailer itself, the original trailer, I believe, is a little over 900 square feet. However, it has some additions that have been put on it. The addition in the back was there on March 28th and 29th of 2019, but the front porch, it was a covered front porch, and I was able to get Ashley images that I took, and, she said, "Yeah, that's definitely the trailer," but there it looks to be a handicap ramp that was added onto the side of the trailer where the covered porch was, that wasn't there, on the night that all of this took place. So, I'm going to hopefully play this video that doesn't have a glitch in it. Um, so you guys can get an idea of what the trailer looked like, and, it's from a side view, it's actually it looks like a large trailer, but, based on the property and the records on it, it's only a little over 900 square feet. So give me 1 second. I feel like my Wi-Fi tonight is giving me a little bit of trouble. I think everything is running slow. There we go. Okay, here we go. It's not very long. So yeah, there's the footage of the trailer, and I think I was really surprised to see how desolate that area is. There's nothing out there. Did that play okay, Rhonda and Cherie?
Yeah, yeah, it looked great. Looked great.
Okay.
It's a little, I don't know. I guess when you know, for me, when I know something has occurred in a place, and then kind of visiting that years later, that place, it's kind of it's a creepy feeling.
Crossroad feel.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it played well.
Yeah, it's
And then the
a
music, of course, you've got some good music there. A little music track to go along with it. It's a little, suspenseful.
yeah, that was better than my GPS talking. But yeah, literally there's nothing out there. So when she said she didn't know really where she was, when you hear Talitha describing these phone calls where Ashley's saying, I don't, you know, he left me out here. I don't know where I'm at. She knew she was in Kentland, but she really, I mean, even if you were to walk out the front door, there's nowhere to go other than a few. I mean, there's not many other trailers in that small little trailer park right there. And I don't know what it was like then, but when I drove through there, a lot of them looked abandoned. But there is actually someone living in that trailer right now. I don't obviously know who, and I wasn't going to stop and knock on the door, but there's someone living there now. But the handicap ramp that you see on the side of it is new. And then let's see. So from there, they arrive at the trailer. This is on Thursday, March 28th. And when Ashley gets up, see, these are my own thoughts based on conversations and the interviews and whatnot. It seems to me that when they arrived there on Wednesday, I tend to believe Garrett already had an ulterior motive of something that he had planned. And I think the plan changed probably multiple times during that day or on Thursday. But I think that he had said something to Chris, and that is why on Thursday morning, before anyone woke up, Chris had already hightailed it out of there. And just based on reports and whatnot that I've read, Chris's family has acknowledged that Chris was trying to elude Garrett on Thursday. Garrett was trying to contact him nonstop on Thursday, like, where are you at? Where are you at? And Chris was avoiding him. So that to me kind of speaks volumes as to Chris's knowledge of whatever Garrett had planned um, with Nicole. But anyway, back to Mikey. Mikey confirmed that Ashley and Garrett were arguing, and that him and Garrett did get in his car and leave. And when you do the map quest here between Jasmine Parker's trailer and the Paladino property, which is on Hodges Road, it's an hour and 3-minute drive. So they had an hour and 3 minutes. Mikey says he doesn't think they made any stops along the way. Ashley said that it was pretty early in the morning when they left. She said it was probably between 9 and 11. When I talked to her this morning, we talked about, because I go over all of this with her before I present it. And just to make sure that I'm saying the right things. But she said it was between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. that they left. So that would put them roughly on Hodges Drive between, I would say, 11 and noon. And according to Mikey, they go into Jason Palladino's trailer. He doesn't really remember how long they were there, but they're there. He said that he went into the bathroom and Garrett went into another room with Jason, and he said they were filling a torch tank. I have no idea what that would be for, but he said they were filling a torch tank. He really didn't hear a lot of the conversation. I did ask if there was any conversation inside the trailer between Garrett and Nicole, or I mean Garrett and Jason about Nicole, and he said no. But during the car ride, and if those of you who are interested in hearing his interview that he gave, I do have an audio recording of an interview that I did with Mikey, but I have not spoken with him in a while, nor have I gotten his permission to use it. So I'm not going to use it until I do have his permission. But he did do a public interview on another channel, and like I said, I'll link that in the show notes. But Mikey does describe that in the car, Garrett, during the car ride, does nothing but talk about what he wants to do to this girl, Nicole. Mikey does not know, he did not know Nicole, but he states that he really thought Garrett was just blowing smoke. Garrett explains that they had gotten in trouble, that Garrett and Nicole had gotten in trouble together. There were drugs involved. They were arrested, and that she had told on him. And I do know that there was paperwork. I'll go into all of that later, but there was paperwork in regards to that. But I do know from the police report that I've already gone over, Nicole did tell the police officers, even during the arrest, that all of the paraphernalia in the car belonged to Garrett. So he's proceeding to tell Mikey along this in this car ride what all he's going to, he wants, he's gonna, she's a snitch, he's going to do this, he's going to do that. And he makes the comment to Mikey that the worst thing about someone dying is the sounds they make when they're dying. Um, Mikey at that point did not realize that Garrett had already been involved um, in the death of someone else. So it wasn't until after the fact that he's like, holy crap, he really did know what he was talking about when he was describing that. So I did ask Mikey after having this conversation again that I'm like, so when you got in the car, and you didn't know Garrett and you didn't know Ashley, but you had just witnessed them arguing. When he got in the car, did he, when he's talking about Nicole, did he say anything about Ashley? Did he say who Ashley was to him? And he said no, there was no Garrett and Ashley. He just did nothing but hammer and hammer and hammer about Nicole. So they arrive at the trailer. Everything that I just described transpired, and they leave the initial trailer, the front trailer. There's 2 trailers that sit on this property. There's one in the front, there's one in the back. They leave the front trailer and they walk around to the second one, which is where Talitha was. Mikey says they go inside, they smoke and get high with Talitha. He doesn't remember how long they were there, but after getting high, the 3 of them decide to leave. Why Talitha wanted to go with them, he says he doesn't know. It was just to get out of the house. We are going to hear from Talitha herself in her interview what her reason was for leaving. But Mikey's version of events are that the 3 of them leave. They get in Mikey's car. They are pulling out. Now, I don't know if they are still driving down Hodges Drive at this point or if they've turned out onto 600. It sounds to me the way Mikey describes it is that they're still kind of at the end of Hodges Drive when Nicole pulls in. And when Nicole pulls in, Garrett says, stop. He gets out of the vehicle and tells Mikey and Talitha that Nicole and him are going to follow them. Garrett then gets in to Nicole's car, and they all head towards Mikey Hiddle's house, which is in Francisville. And Talitha we're going to get into that when we get to her video, what all transpired in her version with that. But based on what Mikey says is that Garrett and Nicole did not follow them initially. They did end up showing up. They did end up showing up at Mikey's trailer or Mikey's apartment later on. So where Nicole and Garrett went after leaving Hodges Drive, I do not know. And we'll have to pick up on that with Talitha's video and when Garrett and Nicole actually did arrive, what transpired there. But this is where we are right now, is them splitting up into 2 separate cars and heading to Mikey's house in Francisville. And I do have a video as well of the Paladino property. And I'll let you guys watch it. Sorry. I'll let you guys watch it and discuss your thoughts on it, because up until I seen it for myself, this place was always described to me as the compound. And I'm sorry, but I don't see a compound at all. Ashley has told me that around this property, and I know that Kevin and Kevin's in the chat if he wants to comment, if he knows. But Ashley has stated that Jason Paladino did have multiple cameras mounted around the property. And I don't even know if Jason Paladino still lives at this property or who owns the property at this time. But I'm going to play the video so everyone can see for themselves what this property looks like. And at the very, very start of this video, you're going to see, and I really didn't realize it until after I had left this area, but right at the very front, there looks to be like a brand new building that's been built there. And from what I understand, that used to be actually where Russell Stout lived. Now, if you guys remember, Russell Stout, we talked about in the last video, it was either him or his brother Kyle who were in Ray's car when Nicole and Garrett got pulled over. And we aren't really sure which one was in the vehicle. It was either Russell or it was Kyle. But this is how close Russell lived to Jason Paladino's property. And Nicole, it was stated that Nicole was staying at the Paladino property with Talitha. So, and Russell's was right in front, and that is where Garrett was also staying. He was staying at Paladino's, and I believe he was bouncing back and forth between the Paladino property and Russell's. But Russell's original trailer had been torn down, from what I've been told, and there's a new house built there. So you'll see it's like a burgundy red colored house, but you only see it briefly in the video. But the video is of me pulling into the property. Kevin says, Mike Paladino owns it along with the place at the end of the lane on the right, and cameras were everywhere. Okay, yes. So in this video, when I pull in, you're going to see the Paladino property on the right-hand side. There's a blue trailer, and then there's a secondary trailer, and I try to go slow, and I go all the way around the curve until it almost gets to the point where I'm forced to kind of stop or pull up to a trailer that I would have to pull up to and face, and I didn't want to do that. So then the video cuts and I turn back around, but I kind of wanted everyone to see the area and where this place sat just because it's been such a talked about location that I just felt it was important to show it. So I'm going to play that really quick. Hopefully it goes off without a hitch. I'll be so glad when I get to be a pro at this, I guess.
You're doing great.
That's the front of the trailer. That's the front of the Paladino trailer. And then I turn around. Okay, I'm going to pause that. Kevin, can you tell me, is this the 6067 Hodges Road, that trailer right there in the back, in the like the foreground, that white one? That's the one that on MapQuest, that's the one that I believe, because the reason it's important is because in Talitha's interrogation video, she gives one address, and I believe it's the 6045 address. And then in her deposition, she gives a second address of 6067. Thanks, you guys. Yeah, no, there was no I didn't see any pit bulls, but I did see a pen of, pigs. There I'm not kidding, I'm not being sarcastic at all. There was a pen of, pigs over there. But, I was curious about both addresses, and from what I've been able to uncover is that the 6067 address is possibly, and I'm not 100% sure, so it's speculation, but the 6067 Hodges Drive address is an address where Talitha and her, husband used to live. So um, I don't understand why she was giving 2 different addresses, at the time, but 6045 is the Hodges Drive address that the Paladinos live at or own. So I'm gonna this video flips around and I turn around and go back the other way. So there's the, compound.
That's some scary music. Wow. And fitting,
Yeah,
like,
well,
for the type of people, I guess.
I didn't realize it would come through so loud. I just thought I was just throwing something in there to drown out my, GPS lady from talking. So she was saying, "Turn around, get out now." So, but yeah, I was kind of,
Danger, Will Robinson.
yeah,
So
and that
let's. I just wanted to say what Kevin was saying. He said he would have to see the front of it. I laughed at a pen of pigs, and Kevin said that's Dan. Out, LOL. He has a cow too. LOL. It's a country. I said, yeah, I'm very very familiar with the country. I used to live on a farm. And then my aunt's neighbor was involved in a similar situation, and the final phase of his demise was being hog slop. Oh, wow.
oh, no.
That's scary, Jennifer.
Right.
That was the late 70s and 80s. Gosh, I just watched a true crime, what do they call it? There's a bunch of different channels that do interrogation videos, and I just watched one where this lady, God, I can't remember what her name was, but she was killing men who worked for her, feeding them to her pigs. She ran a pig farm, and that was
Oh,
horrible.
yeah. Yeah, there's another one
So
like that. I can't think of his name. I wanna say he's in Canada. The, with
oh,
the
I know
pig
who you're
farm.
talking about. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, he was
that
doing
was
the
a
same
guy. That
thing.
was a man, right? That was a man pig
Yes.
farmer. This one was a lady pig farmer, and God, I wish I could remember what her name was. I think she was here in the States, but yeah, they feeding these dead workers of theirs to the pigs, and I was just like, holy shit!
Right.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, off topic. So
That's so we're gonna get
um,
into, we're gonna get back into the, Garrett's interview, and once we get through the rest of this tonight, um, I wanna go back and do another video just on his, video alone and decipher, his lies and literally count from beginning to end how many lies in this initial video he gives that And it's not, and it's, I guess it's not so much that he lies. It's the fantastical way that, I mean, he is coming up with conversations. He's standing up and giving demonstrations, and everything is so quick with it. And just from things that I know, the paperwork, the reports, and things like that, some of this stuff I can decipher how he's taking one thing and turning it into something else. Like it's all from memory, but he's making it, he's really attempting to make it work for him. And the fact
Yeah.
that almost where we left off, where we're going to pick back up tonight, we're right about that point where he tells Detective Rowe, okay, this is the last time I'm going to lie to you.
Yeah.
And then
It's
he
really
proceeds
to lie.
and then he proceeds to tell another lie. Yeah. So you're just
Yeah.
like, I mean, when I've listened to this video, and like like we were talking the other night, I said every single time I watch one of these videos, I take something new. Like I didn't pick up on, like, okay. And then when you listen to another person's interview, you kind of see how things are overlapping and how they're changing the story to make it work for them. But I pick up something new. But the fact that, I mean, he says multiple times, this is the last time I'm going to lie. It's funny. And it's not funny, but it is funny that he's this stupid. But I also want to point out in this video here, and in the next one of his when we get to it, is you have to pay attention how Detective Rowe tends to feed certain lines. And I understand it's the read technique and it's the things that they say to make, a witness that they're interrogating um, open up and talk. But Garrett really is, I mean, he's hook, line, and sinker on that bait with, when Detective Rowe says, well, when he finally gets Garrett to admit that he was with Chris when Chris took the body of Nicole, he's Rowe is the one who throws out there because you wanted her to be found. You're a good person, Garrett. We know you're a good person. And Garrett, and so from that point, from that first initial comment from Detective Rowe, that becomes Garrett's, you know, his storyline. Well, because I wanted her to be found. And he says that 4 or 5 times as if he's the one who really wanted her to be found, which I don't believe that he did. But
Can,
um,
can I just mention one other thing about the read technique, Amy?
sure.
So yes, you're right. The read technique is, different tactics that they use or techniques that they use, law enforcement, to get a person to open up. But also, I think above that, above and beyond that, is more to get a person to confess. The way they use their techniques is to get a person to confess, get information, yes, but to get them to confess. And the read technique has gone so far, and we all know this, it's gone so far and is so abused or overly used or something. What is the word they've crossed the line. I feel like it crosses a line, not with every law enforcement officer, not with every interrogation, but there's been so many times that line has been crossed to not necessarily just get a confession, but to get a confession by any means, even if it's a false confession. And
Right.
so,
And
you
and
know,
if anybody wants a prime example, I mean, this is to me true at heart. If anyone wants a prime example of the read technique being used, go watch Brendan Dassey's interrogation videos, and you will see. I mean, even when he's literally, what is the I forget the guy's purpose. The guy who has him in like the classroom, who's trying to get him to draw, and he's
oh my
not.
God, that's Michael Kelly. He's supposed to be the defense investigator, the investigator for Brendan's attorney, Len Kaczynski. Michael Kelly.
Yeah.
He is an evil, vile individual.
Yes, and Brendan is literally drawing what he wants to portray, and, Kelly is basically saying, "No, that's not right. Do it this way." And whether people believe it or not, and I'm not saying at all that this happened in this case, um, but it does happen. Sometimes, like, Lynn Kaczynski, he literally got that case by cutting a deal with the state. I mean, he was literally doing what the state wanted him to do with Brendan Dassey, and I mean, poor I'm Brendan, that whole case is just it's so sad. It's so sad, but it does
Well, I
happen.
know I know you want to, I know we need to move on, and this is not about Brendan, but these, like you said, it's a perfect example. Not only did his defense counsel's investigator do this to him, so this investigator should be working for Brendan. Instead, he worked completely against him. He worked for the state instead, in all actuality. But for those who don't know, Brendan was a 16-year-old kid who had low functioning cognitive learning disabilities. He was slow. He had a lower IQ. I believe his IQ was 70 or 71, and not mature for his age. Just all the ripe things you can get, you have for a false confession. And what O'Kelly did was, yeah, like Amy said, had Brendan draw a stick figure picture of what took place in the trailer. So Brendan's forced to draw a picture because this investigator is telling him, show me what it was, show me this is the only way. If you want me to help you, you got to help me. Draw me the picture of it. But the worst thing, in my opinion, that I think he said, and this is also a part of the read technique, honestly, the worst thing he said to Brendan, are you sorry that you did it, or are you not sorry that you did it? How the fuck, excuse me, how the hell is somebody supposed, sorry about that. How the hell is somebody supposed to answer that question? There is that, if you're an innocent person, you can't answer that question.
And, I'm really glad that you brought that up because and remind me when we get to Ashley's second interrogation video, when that same exact line is said to her, and the look on her face, and you can tell she doesn't know how to answer it because Ashley never once in any of her interviews says she did anything. She's like telling them what happened, and they keep throwing all of these things at her. But when he comes in that second interview, and he says that to her, you see her forehead, and you're right. When you're innocent, how do you answer that? You don't want to be um uh I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, but you don't wanna say, "No, I'm not sorry someone lost their life," but if you're not responsible, how do you answer that?
Yeah, it's a horrible, horrible trick.
It
And
is, and I mean, I think that you guys can agree, Implicable Susan says Kaczynski was working directly with the prosecutor. Yes, he was. Yes, he was. But, well, let's go ahead and move
we
on.
would
We've
like
got about
we would like to invite you all to Foul Play. I'll drop a link in the chat because there's some
yeah.
crazy stuff going on there too.
Yeah, and the Foul Play, channel I have linked in the, show notes of the video here. So absolutely hop over there, like and subscribe, and they have a really, solid schedule over there of their open mic sessions and their videos, and if you are interested, if you're not familiar with the Stephen Avery case or you wanna learn more, you talk about a deep dive and people who have done their research, it's all there. Stephen Avery they have a whole website with all of the information that I wish I could get all at once in Ashley's case. I think hopefully I'll get there, but it's taken time. And I think the more and more that I pry, I'm starting to see doors close in my face. But that's okay. I'm going to keep going. So we're going to pull up Garrett's video. I hope that I think I have it set to just a few minutes before where we left off last week. And for those of you who might just be joining us, if you didn't get to watch last 12 days ago, the live, you can go back and watch that and catch the first half. And then here soon, I will attempt to get the whole entire video in its entirety loaded by itself. So you can watch it. Probably going to take, I recommend watching it multiple times for you to kind of grasp the storyline that Garrett's telling. And the one big thing I want everyone to at least take away from this video is the fact that not once does he discuss or make it apparent at all that he was with Mikey Hiddle, Talitha Beckley, and Nicole Bowen this whole entire day that this happened. He wasn't with Ashley. He left Ashley out in Kitland, but he was with Nicole, Mikey, and Talitha all day and almost up until midnight. And he completely avoids discussing that. He has 55 million other things that he did that day. So that's one thing that I want everyone to take away from this video is how he eludes what he actually did that day.
He used to hunt out there or something when he was younger. He knew somebody that used to hunt out there.
Okay.
Okay.
So that would be the the container, okay?
Okay.
So you see
Right here is where the gate's at, right?
No, it's actually right there. There's an actual road.
That's the actual road?
The gate would be,
That's the path to that cabin in the back. So
yeah, but that's an actual.
Well, see, there's a gate there, right?
yeah, there's a gate there.
Oh, he pulled it. It was right next to the.
But this is an entrance right there,
It was right there.
and then there's just open grass.
Pulled up like this far.
Okay, so you're thinking he pulled up that entrance there?
Yeah,
Straight in, backed in.
straight in.
Okay. Headlights on, headlights off.
He shut everything off.
Before you even pulled in there?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you stood, so the car is facing this way, just like you said. Okay. Driver, passenger, and you said you stood at the passenger door. So over here. Is that what you did? Right here.
I followed him. No. I followed him near the container. And I watched the road the whole time. But when he was first like looking around, getting the trunk open and stuff, because to get the trunk open, you have to crawl through the back of the car. When he was getting the trunk open and shit, I was watching. And that's the whole reason what made me feel comfortable about her being found is because I wanted her to be found.
I understand.
She's got babies.
I understand that, and she does. She's got at least 2 that I see. So you have to climb through the back seat to unlock the trunk?
No, I don't have to crawl through the back.
Somebody.
Chris has to. Chris crawled through the back of the because the trunk's got a little latch on it, and
So apparently it don't work from inside the car.
No, it doesn't have one from inside the car.
So did you help him carry the body from there to the container?
Yes.
I know you did. Because you wanted to make sure she was in there and you guys laid her down on the floor.
And
Dude, I can't, if I keep catching you in lies,
this is the
man.
last time I'm going to lie to you. I just want to know that, I don't know. I just want to know my mom's going to be able to see her son again.
You keep doing this? Never. I'm not lying to you. I'm not trying to trick you, dude. I'm just asking you to be truthful.
When I helped him carry her in there, I put her in the container as closest to not being as far back as she could be as possible. And when I set her down, or we set her down, I tried to set her down as gently as possible in the most comfortable way that I could.
Did you carry the head or the feet?
I carried the head.
And which way? Where was the head and feet container?
I want to say,
This is the container at the back door where you came in?
yeah.
We know how she was positioned.
When our head would have been facing the back.
You would have went head first.
So you walked in that container backwards?
Yes.
Say anything to her when you laid her down?
I don't remember. I don't remember.
I'm just asking.
I know that when I got to the car and we got in, I said a silent prayer to myself, and I said, God forgive me. And so every time I've attempted to try to sleep since then, I've said a prayer that she was, okay.
So what was your feeling when you seen the press release that she was found?
Relief.
Did you feel some closure?
I felt some closure, but I also felt some, closure, but then again I felt guilty, because if I would have never brought her up here to have a good time, and the intention to come up here was just getting tattoos done there, but I was going to hang out and chill, and isn't that fucking shit happen?
I want to get a picture of Chris, so you can tell me that's who Chris is, or it could be 12 Chris.
He's got 3 or 4 Facebooks, but I have the one on my phone that it's not the one that was Chris Shanning or Shanning Mathis. It's not that one. He gets another one every other fucking day, so I'm having a hard time to remember what his first name is, but the last one's Mathis. But he said, when he sent me that voice message a day, he said, let's just stay off of Facebook. So he was sending voice messages and shit, but your name came up, and then he said, I sent him my phone number and told him to call me, and when he called me, he said, save this number, but I never did, but it was an 891 number. And he said he was down by Whitestown, Lebanon, and Crawfordsville, which is, that's really all the same area. They're only like 12 miles from each other.
And what connections does he have down there?
I don't know. I think just a girl he's staying with or something. But he said that his mom was, actually the voice message or whatever it said in that, he said, my mom will give me all the information and all the sources we need to get the fuck out of here.
You mean his mom, the one that probably lives in Kentland?
Yeah, I think. See, I don't even know if that's his mom. I've never met her. He just says it's his mother's house.
What's he look like?
Chris? Mm-hmm. Red hair, short, chin straps, or either a beard, and he's kind of dressed as
You got pre-sims on you? You got pre-sims on your phone?
I do not.
And he dresses a weird, like gangster. I mean, when I dress with either tennis shoes on, I try to have my pants up as high as I can.
So after that night, which we really need to dial that in after we get some of these details figured out, or allow you the opportunity to say your side. You left that morning, like, what did everybody else in the trailer do? Like, you guys just literally had a body inside the trailer that some of you guys cared for. See, take her out there. What did everybody do after that?
Jasmine was acting like everything was fine.
Okay.
Like nothing.
What about the other ones?
Talitha that's him.
Yeah.
It upset Talitha, but I mean, she didn't really want to talk about it, and I understand that.
I'm not saying this is him or not. Okay, it's not like a photo lineup. You named him, so I'm just asking you.
Yeah, that's Christopher. That's definitely Christopher.
Is that the one that
yes.
You're saying killed Nicole? Screenshot that. So how was everybody that morning? I get Jasmine, Dad, who gives a shit, move on. Who else? What did the other one say?
Chris acted like nothing even happened.
Okay.
She didn't want to talk about it. She didn't want to think about it. So it upset her too, because she knew it upset me.
Okay.
I didn't know whether to cry, scream, kick shit, or just sit down and act like nothing was going on.
Okay. What about that talk to you on
Talitha?
Yeah.
She was really upset.
So where did everybody go? You guys, tell me what you did from that point then.
I left. I took Chris to hang on.
I said, don't think about answers, just be truthful.
No, I'm trying to think. When we left, Talitha and Ashley rode with me to go back out to Talitha's to take her back home
Where's Talitha live?
in Delphi. I'm not sure exactly the
Did
exact
you already tell me
address.
that? Did you already give me her last name?
Yeah, Beckley.
What is it?
Beckley.
No, you didn't give me that, okay. B-E-C-K,
L-E-Y.
okay.
No, yeah, L-E-Y.
Keep going.
I took her back home. When I dropped her off, her boyfriend, we got into an argument because he thought that I was out fucking her and I wasn't. And he didn't know Ashley was in the car because Ashley had the seat leaned back because she was sleeping. Because I got out of the driver's side and let her out. And when she went over to the house, I heard him screaming and yelling at each other. She came outside. She's like, "You need to go before something stupid happens," talking about her boyfriend. And he started screaming at me, what have you. He's like, "You eating out fucking tea?" Which that's T's nickname, that's her nickname. And I said, "No, it ain't even like that, man." And when I said that, he was all pissed off. He had a gun in his hand. He shot at the ground with a pistol. So I got in Nicole's car and me and Ashley got the hell out of there. So after we got out of there, I went and I seen my mom. I met with my mom. We got a little bit of food, got some gas. And then from my mom's, we went to my friend Jeff's house. And we just got away for a couple of days. Didn't talk about nothing, didn't think about what had happened. We just, I was trying to spend as much time with her as I could. And, cherish the time I had with her because I didn't know if anybody knew anything. I didn't know if whatever.
You knew this day was probably gonna come.
And when she had looked on the phone and she seen that, I said, "Babe, I gotta go." She's like, "Why?" I said, I have to go. I didn't really have enough time today whenever this happened because I brought the car up here, and that, when I said that somebody told me to bring the car up here, I mean, they kind of did because the title's not in the glove box. Like that part was true.
Okay.
And when I called Mike, I was going to go see my grandma's grave because I was late to my grandma's funeral. Whenever she died, which is like almost
But just
2 weeks
take,
ago.
and I understand, I'm sorry to hear that, but you left that next morning, so I kind of got how everybody felt.
Yeah.
And then you went down there, you just made some quick stops because you kind of thought that the day might come.
Well, it's not that I was scared that somebody was going to be on my trail. It's just I wanted to get there and I wanted to relax. And it's not that I just wanted to forget about it, but I wanted to.
Okay, so what day were you down there then to help ID on what day that you guys did this?
Did what? Went to my friend's house?
Jasmine's and everything with Nicole. Because you said you went away for a couple of days. Okay, so we discovered her on Saturday.
Okay, Friday. It was Tuesday or Wednesday. I can't give an exact date because we were high. But if I look on my Facebook, I can probably find, look and see what day we were there and what have you.
Okay, well I know it wasn't Tuesday.
It had to have been Wednesday. Because we were up here for, we was up here for a day or two.
So you're believing Wednesday night. And what time again?
When we got back up here, it was like,
No, what time did you take Nicole out there and put her in the container?
oh, that, it's like, fuck. Like 2:30 or 3, something like that.
Okay. And then that next morning you left and that's when you were hanging low. When did you see the press release on Saturday?
Yes, yeah.
I mean, today's Monday, so I mean, it's either yesterday or Saturday. Okay. Sit tight. I'm gonna take a break, okay? But we need to keep talking to find out maybe where Chris is at and stuff like that.
I'll help you guys in any way I can.
Well, that's all you got right now. Right now, I mean, you really need our help. I already had what I needed. I was just giving you the opportunity to help yourself. So yeah, you really need our help. So it'd only be in your best interest just to be truthful. That's it. I don't want nothing made up. Whether to help or hurt you, nothing. I just want the truth. Let's take a break and then I'll come back in, okay?
What I was going to say was I think I know who has the title right now, other than, I don't think King has it anymore. What if I could get...
I'm not really worried about the title to the car, I mean, honestly. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I was just, because I don't think that that he just did that for no reason. Because he knows a few people about where I am, but Talitha's boyfriend was talking about, he's like, well, Chris told me what happened when I dropped her off, and I don't know how in the hell he could have known that. So I don't know if, you know, if that was like a premeditated type of thing, because Nicole knows Terry, which Terry lives behind Jason, which is where Nicole was staying for a couple of days. When I said I went to Terry's and Russell's to just kind of see her or whatever, Nicole lost her keys one night, and I helped her look for them all, like 4 hours, you know, through the yard, everywhere. When we came back off the porch, they were laying right next to her fucking car. And but when over the events of her looking for her keys, Jason was telling her to get the fuck off the property, and she's like, well, I can't unless I find my keys. And she's like, well, I'll just call the police. And Jason's exact words were, I don't think that'd be a good fucking idea. And I don't know if she called the cops or not, but I know that she did find her keys.
Okay. So you're just saying that Chris needs to explain whether it was premeditated, because apparently either he was running his mouth, kind of bragging, or he had an ulterior motive.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? But you're still saying he did it?
Yes.
Okay. All right, give us a break, okay? Drink some water. We'll be back in.
but I think Chris did it either. It was
Hi, man. Please.
argument or altercation, but her body language would have put the impression down that I have a problem with it. And as he was in the bedroom talking to Talitha, and when Ashley came out, Ashley tried I wouldn't say initiated an argument or altercation, but her body language would have put the impression down that I have a problem with that. And they kind of got face to face, but I grabbed a hold of Ashley and pulled her back before anything had happened. And that was when what we talked about earlier.
So did anyone swing?
No.
So you're just saying Ashley confronted her because she called you by your middle name?
Yeah. Ashley always calls me Garrett Kenneth, even when she's mad at me. It's either, God damn it, Garrett Kenneth, or it's, I love you, Garrett Kenneth. That's just how it's always been. I call her Ashley Nicole because that's her middle name.
So why would Mathis have put her in a chokehold?
Jasmine had a warrant, and when her and Ashley and Nicole started yelling at each other, and when I grabbed Ashley, Ashley stopped yelling. The only thing she was trying to do was get away from me because, when I'm pissed off and somebody tries to grab hold of me when I'm trying to do something that I think I'm wanting to do, I'm going to try to get out of it. But I think Chris did it, either it was, like I said earlier, it was premeditated, or Chris put her in a chokehold to get her to shut up. I don't know.
Because he didn't want cops coming there because there's dope there.
I don't know Jasmine all that well. I don't know how much dope was there or nothing like that. From what she was talking when I had first met that Mike guy, Mike and Jasmine both talked like Mike was her dealer and the whole 9 yards.
So dark when all that transpired?
Mm-hmm. It was so dark when outside after he left to go after him and went in the car too.
Good enough.
All right. You're being held right now on Jasper's charges, okay?
What?
On the resisting charges.
Is there any possible way that, what happens when I go see the judge, or can I get bonded out?
They'll probably issue a bond. It's probably gonna be a few days, I don't know, but, I mean, truthfully, you know that you're gonna be expecting some charges from our side. I mean, you gotta know that that's coming, right? What the specific charges are yet? Don't know. That's up to the prosecutor's office. We just gather facts, okay? That's why I try to reiterate, being truthful goes a long way in that long-term goal, or that long-term plan, your life plan. So I'm hoping that you're only as much truthful as I was forcing you to be, meaning with facts that I already had. But I'm hoping that when we walk out of the room, that you were being truthful with me and you did not have any more involvement. Because I'm just saying, if you did, all you had to do is tell us. But you're saying Chris did that. So we're still on the same level on that.
Yes. Does anybody know how much my bond would potentially be or anything like that?
No, it's definitely over here in this county. I don't know what their bonds are.
What is it exactly, do you know?
No, that's why I said I don't know. It's gonna be, the resistance is gonna be a low-level felony, a 6 or something, but I don't know what their bond amounts are over here. It's a different county.
Fuck, my mom's gonna fucking kill me.
Okay? But instead of sitting here, all day, I just I was just making sure that you did not have any further facts that you needed to relay. Yeah, we need to clarify that up a little bit about the argument. Okay? All right, thank you.
Can I still get the cigarette we talked about?
Yeah, let me check with those guys, okay?
Okay.
So that's it until they come back in and take him out. They leave him sit there again. But the uh, the 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 Jason Paladino incident is interesting, and it's going to even be more interesting when we get to Talitha's interview and what she says transpired there. But he left out stopping at the Chris Spencer's trailer to get the title. The title was there, and I don't know how the title got there, but that's where the title was. And Chris Spencer, we'll get into that in Talitha's video, but Chris Spencer had a boyfriend also named Mike. And I guess Mike had laid the title on the counter, and Ashley said that Garrett reached over while they were busy talking and slid the title off the counter and put it in his pocket. But Nicole's mom last live said that the title was never found. So I don't know where the title went. And the hold on a second here. Trying to clean up my screen. The I don't know, you guys, what do you, Rhonda, do you have any thoughts on things you want to point out?
Surely you know by now that that's a dangerous thing to ask me. And if you don't know, you haven't been watching enough foul play or just Rhonda videos, because I always have thoughts. Oh my
Yes, Chris,
God.
to answer your question, Chris Spencer is a female. And
Yeah,
she,
I just wanted to make sure people knew that.
yeah, she's a female. And they left Jasmine's trailer, and it's funny how he tells that, but um they put Ashley in the back seat of the car. Now, and Talitha rode in the front with all of their ride or die until the wheels fall off talk between Garrett and Talitha on that car ride. And like I was talking to you guys, was it yesterday or today? When, it just dawned on me, Garrett, after all these lies and all of that, then when he decides to then, throw Ashley under the bus, he wants everyone to think that those two, that this was all a jealousy, love triangle thing, and it was all a conspiracy and Ashley was in on it. But yet, you know, what girlfriend do you know who goes, hypothetically, let's say Ashley wasn't on this and it was a conspiracy and it was planned, and she helps participate in taking out her quote unquote rival, and then gets into a car and is made to sit in the back seat to another female. That to me is absolutely insane. That
Hell
none of it adds
no.
up.
Yeah. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I mean,
Um,
yes, Travis, he did. Yeah, that time around, he said that he grabbed Ashley before anything got physical. But Ashley said that it did get physical. She said that when she came out of the room, obviously she was not, she was already mad. She had been left there all day, and you're going to hear in Talitha's videos how she was calling, trying to find where he was because she's out at this girl's trailer in Kentland and didn't know where she was, and she was pissed. So when she heard him out in the living room and she walked out and Nicole's standing there, she said her reaction and Nicole's reaction were exactly the same. Like, what the F? What the F? What is she doing here? Like, oh my God. And, those two didn't get along. Garrett had been seeing Nicole for several months, and there were a lot of Facebooks back and forth. And, but Ashley will straight up tell you she could have had him. She did, it wasn't about, I know that as two females, yeah, there's that jealousy and rival thing, but not to the extent of participating in something like this. I didn't, what did Jennifer say? Yes, Jennifer, yes, you are absolutely right. All three of his women are there together. He states right off the rip at the beginning of his interrogation video that he was cheating with Talitha. We'll go when we get to Talitha's down the road because we still have quite a bit to go through. We have, I think, after we do this, I want to do a rebuttal on this to go over all of his lies and point out key points in his interrogation. But the next video, I want to do them in order as they were done by law enforcement. And the next video that we'll be going into is going to be Jasmine's. And her interview is about 3 hours long. And it's pretty telling. A lot of good stuff there, but it's not as telling as you would think it would be. And right before we right before we get into Jasmine's video, I want to go over Jasmine's dispositional hearing and what she said on the stand at her hearing. And you guys will be able to compare what she said at her dispositional hearing versus her interrogation video. And again, that's going to fall into number one, why was she never called to the stand in Ashley's trial? And why were none of these interrogation videos transcribed and gone over with the fine tooth comb at trial?
Amy,
Travis,
your
what do you
voice is your voice is fading in and out. Amy, sorry.
Oh, thanks for telling me. Is that better?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what I was saying is when we go into Jasmine's interrogation video next, her video is about 3 hours long. And before we go into that, I want to go over her dispositional hearing so everyone can compare what she says during her dispositional hearing in court versus what she actually said in her interrogation video, and why the two were never compared at trial, and why wasn't she called to Ashley's trial to testify, even though Ashley was told that she wanted to plead the fifth. Um, she could have been put on the stand and been made to take the fifth in front of the jury.
Crazy, crazy stuff. I haven't even read, not even I'm like an infant in this case at this point. But already what I've seen, read, and heard via documents and videos, um, by gathered via FOIAs and things like that. I'm not talking about YouTube videos that other people have put out and made their opinion or said. I'm talking about interrogation videos and information gathered via FOIAs. What little bit of that I have seen to this point, there is so much reasonable doubt in Ashley's case, just in my opinion, of course. But this isn't my first case. This isn't my first rodeo. This isn't the first time I've done any kind of, armchair sleuthing or investigating, whatever you want to call it. I've done some serious, we've all three on this panel done some serious, I call it investigative work because the work that we're doing, going through court documents and transcripts and videos, that's like, I feel like I'm doing an investigation, another investigation, an amateur investigation nonetheless. But, so, like I said, it's not the first time I've done something like this, started deep diving a case, and there's absolutely already so much reasonable doubt in this case. And I haven't even gotten
Well,
through an eighth of it yet.
and for me, I know what, post conviction relief is about. And outside of that, it's going to it's really going to come down to, his word versus her word. Um and I truly believe, at this point, with the information and the things that I have that I haven't even put out there yet, his story has already changed. Again, but I don't care what he says, because you can't put any weight in not 1 ounce of breath that comes out of that man's mouth. But it's going
You
to come
can't,
down to the
and how can,
DNA.
well, yeah, we'll keep talking about that. Yeah, you know what? We probably all did to an extent, Jack. I would say. Jack says, "Hey, I graduated from Ripper's Armchair Detective School." Yeah, I think. Well, I know Cherie and I, and you and Susan for sure, probably have all been to Ripper's Armchair Detective School. Ripper's awesome. Oh, he's an amazing. He's an awesome guy. Anyway, um, but I forgot what I was saying. Jackie distracted me. Squirrels. Anyway, there's whatever, Travis. I'm enrolled. I had to repeat a class. Come on, you're funny. Well, and Travis, just let me say that this too. This isn't the first case that um, I don't want to say that I've worked on with Travis, that I've been involved with Travis, though. I've known Travis for years. I don't even know how many years I've known Travis. And he's no nonsense. And he'll tell you, if he thinks you don't have a case, he'll tell you you don't have a case, or here's why you don't have a case, or here's where you do have a case, and let's pursue this.
Mhm.
He's just straight up, and you get honest answers. And sometimes we don't always like the answers that we get from Travis, but we trust them and we trust him. And
Mhm.
so, we keep Travis close to the vest for sure.
Yeah.
um, but anyway, it's post conviction. That's where we're at with Daniel's case in post conviction, and with Daniel's case, we had a civil rights um, uh, civil
Law-
rights suit.
Lawsuit.
Gosh, yeah, thank you. I'm losing my track of thought track. Whatever. Oh my gosh, I probably need to eat is my problem, to be quite honest with you. But anyway, uh, so we're also, but we had to get through a civil suit first, and then the civil suit got dropped by the plaintiffs. Fortunately, well, it's a long story. It's hard to explain it in just a couple seconds. But at any rate, Daniel, there was no civil suit trial after all in Daniel's case. So we moved right on to post conviction relief now, and that's kind of what we're doing. It's going back through all of the evidence that I can get my hands on. I certainly can't get all of it, but going through that. Um, and it's just getting to find the more so much time now has gone since his trial to now, and when you've got people that are able to read documents, FOIA documents, and read them and get other information that wasn't necessarily brought out in trial, or that was brought out in trial but was not truthful. You start gaining a little bit of momentum working up towards the post conviction, and I think that's where we're kind of heading now. That's where we are with Ashley's case as well. So it's
Nan's
kind
life.
of like a fresh start. I'm sorry, go
Nan's
ahead.
life. No, I don't have any juror interviews at this time. I would love to speak with them.
Yeah.
If there's any out there who want to come forward, I absolutely would love to speak with them. Um, yeah, I mean, uh, excuse me. The For me, I mean, getting into this DNA, because, that was always the big hook line with the plea deal and all of that coming off the table, which we know from behind, just from behind the scenes what kind of transpired there. But the DNA, what I want to, get into with all of that is based on when we listen to Garrett's second interview, everything that he says when he switches the page and he thinks Ashley is talking, and which Ashley did tell on him, um, and when he kind of gets to the realization that Ashley is talking, and he flips and says, "Oh, well, she helped me," um, and all of the things that he said that she did. When you talk about the scarf, that scarf being on the end table next to the couch, right next to the couch she slept on, where she sat her cigarettes, where she sat her ashtray, where she had her drink. She was up and down in that trailer for a day and a half. And when we go back to Garrett's interrogation video, beginning there, and they ask him about this scarf, he brings up, "Oh, I remember a scarf because my girlfriend Ashley thought it was pretty and asked Jasmine where she got it." And Jasmine said, "Well, my kids got it for me." And then we're going to hear in Jasmine's video, they asked Jasmine about the scarf and she starts crying, and they ask her where the scarf came from. And she said her kids got it for her. Ashley to this day says she cannot remember whether or not she actually picked up the scarf or touched it, but she knows exactly where it was. And there's touch DNA on that scarf. But when you listen to all of the things that Garrett says she did, we have to talk about where there's no DNA. All of the places that there isn't any DNA. That makes a difference as well. But we'll get into that down the road. But that's what I think, because I don't believe that Ashley wants to be proved innocent. She's been stifled for so long. It's taken her a while to feel that she has enough courage to fight for herself. And now that she has some people listening, now, she's full blown. This is what needs to be said, because for so long I have been stifled. So, but the DNA is going to be very important in this case, and possibly a lot of retesting, because I think there was a lot of testing that wasn't done in this case.
Right. Yeah, the DNA for sure, or lack thereof, just like in Daniel's case, the DNA will be interesting to get to, and I look forward to you getting those documents. I think you FOIA'd those, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe I don't know at all. But
Yeah, I've got a lot of stuff out there right now, but
yeah. So, I mean, and again, I'm not trying to, highlight my own channel, but I have an excellent, and I think I shared it with you, Amy, an excellent presentation by Dr. Silkman, who is with Foul Play, and he is a real doctor of forensic science
he
and
specializes.
DNA.
Doesn't he specialize in mitochondrial DNA?
Molecular biology.
Molecular
and
molecular
maybe
Okay.
that too. I don't know about the mitochondria.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I knew it was
But
one of
he
those.
did, because there's questions about the DNA in Daniel's case as well. First of all, it's such a small, minute amount, but they made it sound like this big deal, like they made a big deal of it in the trial, but it was a very, very minute amount. And Dr. Silkman did a presentation on my channel, earlier this year, where he broke it all down. He had the DNA table that he was able to show and look at and study, and he did a really good presentation on it. And I had an entire video that we did, an entire live, but after it was over, I took just the presentation part of that out, and I made just what I call a standalone video of his DNA presentation. And I'll be happy to share it with you guys too in the chat, just so you can get a look at what he does and what he can do. And I cannot possibly speak for Dr. Silkman right now, but I sure know that, once you get that DNA information, we can, at least ask Dr. Silkman if he can, take a look at it. I know thank you, Travis. I couldn't say it. Cherie was saying it, but molecular biologist. And so, we'll certainly ask Dr. Silkman, between myself, Jack, and Travis, and Cherie, and Susan. We'll ask Dr. Silkman if he can just take a look at it once you get a hold of it, and just see if he can see anything, and do what he did for us with Daniel's case, because he proved that what they used in Daniel's case. Well, I shouldn't say the word proved, but he showed us that the DNA that they used in Daniel's trial really was not what it really was. And
Right.
so I'll find that video and share it, if that's okay, Amy. Just so people
Oh,
can get
absolutely.
an
Yeah, go
idea
ahead.
of Dr. Silkman's, education and what he's able to do. Yes, the state misled, very much the state misled the DNA in Daniel's case. And not only that, again, I know this isn't about my channel, but not only that, the prosecutor lied, straight up lied in his closing rebuttal to the jury about the DNA, complete bald-faced lie. And, of course, that's something that we hope to, yes, thank you, non-intimate transfer. I can't come up with the right words. I think when I'm hangry, I do even worse.
When you're hangry.
Thank you, Jack and Travis. Appreciate your help. Gosh. Anyway, I haven't had much to eat today, so, but I think it will. I think it'll help give an idea. And I really, depending on what I know Dr. Silkman's super busy right now, but depending on what he's got going on, once you do get your hands on that DNA information, he might be able to take a look at it and maybe do something similar for you. We'll see.
That would be
I'm
great.
not volunteering him, just suggesting it could happen.
That would be great. Well, I think we've jammed
there's
in. I think we've jammed in quite a bit.
Yeah. You're talking. I want to just talk about the DNA for a second,
Mhm.
and I just want to talk just about this extension cord thing. For somebody, from what Garrett says in his second interview, how much she allegedly handled that extension cord, her DNA should have shown up on that thing somewhere. And I know you told me yesterday,
And
Amy, that they said there was a reason why it wouldn't show up, but that's what I want to
it had,
ask Dr. Silkman.
yeah, there was something to the effect of the porousness of the cord. They weren't able to extract any DNA from the cord, and from his second interview, he said, what he says in his second interview. He changes the story in the second interview 2 or 3 times, and then at trial, the story is even more elaborate. So the handling of the scar or the cord went from she unplugged it to handing it to him. Then it was she unplugged it and then tied a knot in it, to unplugging it and using it. And there was no DNA on the cord. There was DNA under Nicole's fingernails, which that was a no. I mean, that's honestly a given. They did get into a physical confrontation. Um, there was touch DNA, I believe, on the scarf, and there was the DNA on the inside of the cardboard roll, from the roll of duct tape or packing tape that was inside the trailer. That the cardboard roll was found with Nicole, but Ashley stated that the morning before Garrett left, there was a roll of duct tape that Garrett asked for tape to put on the back of his cell phone because the battery would not stay in the back of the cell phone. She said Jasmine got the roll of tape, handed it to Ashley. Ashley said she pulled the tape off the roll, ripped the tape, handed the tape to Garrett, put the duct tape back down on the counter. and her DNA was found on the inside of the cardboard, from when you handle a roll of, tape.
Sure.
I'm not aware that there was any positive DNA found on any duct tape that was found on Nicole, because Nicole was duct taped. I'm not aware of any DNA that was tested on the bags that were found on Nicole, the bag on her head, or the blanket that she was wrapped up in. There was a lot of places that Garrett, in his second interview, by the time he's done, he ends up saying, "Oh, she helped me with the whole 9 yards." So even right out to helping him take the body outside, which when you listen to Talitha's video, that's not what happened. Or that's not what happened either at trial. But there's a lot of areas where her DNA should have been that either it wasn't tested or they didn't find it. But Ashley is adamant. She's like, there needs to be more testing. All of this needs to be retested. But the even more horrific part about all of this is that during the trial, the prosecutor was handling the evidence in the courtroom with no gloves. And there were several issues with this brought up between Ashley and Lori at trial, and Lori never objected. But Ashley said it was kind of getting to the point where every time Lori objected, she was, I guess there were some comments and things made. I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm not going to speak to that. I can only go by what the transcripts say. But the those two areas, the cardboard and the scarf, but there's a lot of other areas where there should have been DNA that I'm not aware that there was.
Yeah, that would be really weird if they didn't test the tape. Really
Yeah.
weird. I'm not going to speak for the bags, the plastic bags. That would be really strange if they didn't test the tape. Because I don't know about DNA. I guess I should go back on that. Because I'm
Well,
thinking more
I
of
would
fingerprints, but still.
I would think fingerprints would be easier to obtain off of a trash bag than DNA.
Sure.
I mean, it would be harder to find DNA on it. I don't know what color the bags were, but the trash bag, I'm sure they could, under, the right lighting, they could find fingerprints.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was making this big deal in chat about what would Dr. Soapman say about that cord. That they didn't find her DNA, and I just was automatically thinking Dr. Soapman would say MVAC it, but yeah, we don't have enough information.
Right.
So
Well,
anyway, yeah, that's something down the line for sure that we can talk to Dr. Soapman about.
right. Well,
Okay, yeah, sorry. I didn't mean to cut
no.
you off again. Sorry.
Go ahead, Cherie.
Oh, I didn't say anything.
You've been awful quiet tonight. Well, I think that I think that we've been on here for what, a little over 2 hours? 7, 8, 9, yeah, about 2 hours. So we can wrap it up if you guys want, so you can go get something to eat, Rhonda. And I know I've got to work, Cherie's got to work. So I appreciate you guys coming on tonight, and everybody that joined us in chat. I think that we're getting there slowly but surely. We're little by little, we're getting it out there. So if everyone in the chat could like and subscribe, that way, more people, get notified when we're doing another video, and other people can come in and listen and learn about the case, and take their own opinion from, all the information that we're sharing.
Sorry. Yeah. I think just every time you get more information, it'll get bigger and bigger for sure. You're doing great.
No, it was really interesting and informative.
Yeah, well, when you guys get the chance, hop in there in the Dropbox and go over those transcripts that were just put in. So
Okay.
I think you'll even be more angry. Like, what the heck?
I'm not sure I have any more room for anger in my life, but I'll sure
Yeah.
will make more for Ashley.
What did he,
Travis says,
what should I say?
if you guys are
We can,
going to Discord, let me know. Yeah, we can jump in.
yeah, we can jump in Discord, Travis. All right, guys, thanks for coming on, and thanks everybody for joining, and thank you, Jack and Travis for modding, and we'll see everybody next time.
Yeah. Thank you, Amy.
All right. You're welcome. See you guys later. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.